Deborah Murphy here. We're at the Canadian Beef Industry Conference, and I'm joined by Janice Bruno, coordinator of the Saskatchewan Forage Network. Hi, Janice.
Hi.
And also Ryder Lee, CEO of the Saskatchewan Cattlemen's Association. Hello, Ryder.
Hello, Deborah.
So we're talking today about the Livestock and Forage Center of Excellence. First, let's start with what are your guys' roles in the development, I guess, of the center?
So almost 2.5 years ago, when an advisory committee was struck, I was asked to sit on that committee. And so I guess both Ryder and I, bringing some of that industry perspective to the conversation about developing a very unique model in Western Canada and really Canada-wide in terms of, how we can work together and develop a center of excellence. And really, I think the way to make that successful is to have stakeholders around the table. And so, it's been really a good challenge and an honor to be part of sort of this discussion with the key players around the table. It's been an exciting process, and there's lots of exciting things to come.
So tell us about the steering committee. Who all is involved in that?
Sure. So you've got provinces, you've got the university, both the College of Vet Med and the College of Ag, and the university proper as well. There's many parts to the university when you say that, and then you've got the province as well. So it's all these coming together, and the minister, asked for that steering committee to make sure that this, with their $10 million of investment in that comes a group that they want to make sure that comes out the other end with something that's going to serve producers, work for the university, and work for a long time going forward. So that's why you'd have a steering committee like that too.
So you mentioned the funding. Basically, the last time that we covered this on the site was last year in July when the announcement was made. What's happened since then, I guess?
Well, you've got a lot of design, a lot of conversation about what all are we going to do. So this started with let's move the feedlot out of the city to let's do that. What about cow-calf? What about the research that goes on at Termundi? So an hour and a half southeast of Saskatoon is where the Western Beef Development Center is. That's good, and they do a lot of good work there, but it'd be probably utilized a lot more if that was brought closer to the city and closer to this other research. So a lot of that has been in the development and how do we do that, and then designed, and then go out for a request for proposals. And excitingly, we're right in the spot where the first step in that, the feedlot part, is looking to close tenders in about 10 days.
I mean, physically what we'll see, it'll be the bricks and mortar of sort of that integrated system, right from forage seed production through forage, grazing, range management, how livestock makes use of that, so right through cow-calf through to the feedlot. And so in order to accomplish that kind of research and have that type of demonstration we need, as Ryder mentioned, we need a new feedlot, and we've known that for a very long time. And so infrastructure-wise, we're really excited about the new facilities that are going to come. So the funding is in place now to develop a new feedlot that will be state-of-the-art, cutting edge, but along with that too, new facilities that will allow us to do the cow-calf research, nutritional research, grazing research. So that means land and the facilities and the cattle, and then as important or more importantly, the people that go along with it. The researchers that we have in this province and in Western Canada that are going to collaborate at this site and have this new and innovative technology and center of excellence, as I think it's very aptly labeled. That's the really exciting part, is that it's this whole integration of the system. And I think even what we can imagine can be done, expand that times 20. There's going to be work that's going to come out of this that we haven't even dreamed of yet, and that's going to be the really exciting part.
And to do it on a scale that looks like cattle production in the prairies now. So a feedlot that's not as big as Feedlot Alley, but it's real world size. Same with calving barns, but on the other side of the wall you've got labs that can look at, well, what are they eating, or how are they digesting, or do some animal health looking at things. So it's combining real world with the lab to be able to answer those questions that we have today and tomorrow as well.
And so then to go down the value chain, what about the consumer? What do they get out of this big investment?
Well, and I think anything that we do on the research side or from a production standpoint, at the end of the day, our end user is the consumer. And so the ability, as Ryder mentioned, to have this real world scale production system where we can validate the work we do, where we can demonstrate and show. And so this will be a showcase type of facility, not just where we can demonstrate to producers, but in reality to society as a whole, in terms of how we manage our production systems, the decisions that producers make, and that there is factual information out there and cutting edge research. I guess the other piece that I think ties in well too with the consumer is all the environmental aspects that'll go along with this. Some of the research that is already starting to be done at this site, it's being referred to as a greenfield site in terms of essentially it's a clean slate where we haven't had a livestock operation in the past. It allows for a ton of environmental monitoring, and I don't even begin to understand the science, but the environmental engineers and the people that are going to be able to monitor animal impacts on the land and then the positive benefits of animals on the landscape as well. And so that whole environmental piece, there's a story to tell that is extremely beneficial to our industry, but also very important and beneficial for society and consumers as a whole. So that's a very neat aspect.
So we heard about the funding announcement, and it was a big chunk of money, but probably not enough to do what you're doing here. So what are the next steps in terms of fundraising?
Well, part of that is one of my other roles is working with the fundraising committee and getting us to that, from that point of getting it done to getting it done well and really well and becoming the center of excellence. So we are looking to partners that are looking to invest and support this undertaking. So the capital side of it is $25 to $30 million of just getting it built, and we're also looking at partners that want to support research, support programs, support students working through that. So it's not just that we need a place, we need the people doing it and the ongoing funding for looking into those problems and challenges of tomorrow. So we're doing that right now. I mean, the coming together of people at this conference is a good spot to have some of those conversations, and they continue from here out as well.
Do you guys have an idea of a timeline for the Center of Excellence?
So some of the time, and actually some of that ties around funding, is some of the funding that's involved. Our timelines are a good proportion of this infrastructure will be in place by March of 2018. Now, it takes time to build a facility of this size, so there won't necessarily be all the pieces in place, but there's a real move now. Like I said, things are happening, and we anticipate that this fall there will be shovels in the ground, and so we will start to see some real aspects on the ground within a couple of years, and so there's lots to happen in the coming months.
All right, Janice, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And Ryder, thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thanks so much.